Hey viewers, I'm back in New Vegas as promised. I've got to do this video quick because just getting a basic installation of New Vegas done in 2024 is a real pain with 20 different script extender plugins you need to download. I also installed Tale of Two Wastelands, which took a very long time. I had to restart the installer twice because it didn't accept my decompressed New Vegas BSAs. I had to delete and reinstall the entire game. It was a complete nightmare. But it's over now, and that's enough excuses out of me. So I've been thinking, one of the biggest differences between Fallout New Vegas' hardcore mode and Fallout 4's survival mode is you can only save at a bed in survival mode. Not being able to drop a quick save whenever you want greatly adds to the difficulty and tension because you know one little mistake could send you back half an hour or more. That, combined with disabling fast travel, totally changes the way you play the game. By contrast, hardcore mode is so easy 99% of the time you'll forget you turned it on. There's food and water everywhere, and the only real concern is your companions dying. Geez, this intro is getting long. Look, you know what I'm doing now. I've downloaded every mod I could find adding survival-esque saving mechanics to New Vegas and compared them. The mods I tried are listed on screen right now. If I missed any good ones, yell at me for being dumb. My recommendation for your use would definitely be Saving Reworked because it's the most configurable of these mods and it gives you the most fair experience. It lets you save not only at beds, but also by using holotapes and terminals, which is essential in content like Operation Anchorage where there are no beds. Saving Reworked has one tiny little issue for Tale of Two Wastelands users, but otherwise it's a very good mod. If you want a mod that's more difficult, simple Fallout 4 survival saving is an okay choice too. Just don't load it alongside Saving Reworked, use one or the other. Like Saving Reworked, simple Fallout 4 survival saving lets you save at beds, and it has its own saving holotapes too if you enable them in the INI, although they're very rare finds. This mod has its own issues which I'll go over when I talk about it, but it's a pretty good mod too. Using the save points mod with simple Fallout 4 survival saving might be a good idea, since it will give you the occasional extra save whenever you find a typewriter. I wouldn't recommend solely relying on typewriter saves, since it's not like typewriters are consistently placed everywhere, but save points can be used to supplement simple Fallout 4 survival saving if you find it too difficult. Sadly, save points has its own tiny little issues, which I'll get into. Also, save points will not function with Saving Reworked. These two mods are not compatible. Alright, with recommendations out of the way, let's take a look at all these mods in detail. First up, we've got the only mod I have prior experience with, and after trying the others, I'm glad I used this one. Saving Reworked, Fallout 4 Survival Style, and more. When you start the game with it loaded, you get a cool vanilla-style tutorial pop-up telling you basically everything you need to know. With this mod, there's two main methods of saving, beds and blank holotapes. By default, you can save in beds as much as you want, and just like Fallout 4, you can quickly exit the sleep menu before an hour passes to save without actually sleeping. There's an unfortunate problem though, you can only save at beds that are specifically allowed by the mod. I guess this check exists to stop you from using placeable bedroll mods, although most of the popular ones still work. But it leads to problems like the king-sized bed in the 10-penny tower suite apparently being too uncomfortable to save in. You can't save at the Megaton house bed either, and there may be other Fallout 3 or modded beds that just don't work. I didn't have time to look for more, but I remember this issue from years ago and it's still there. It's the only little pet peeve I have with this mod. If you're feeling masochistic, you can set an option in the MCM that only lets you sleep once a day. I wouldn't play that way, but it's nice to have the option. Holotapes replace quick saves in this mod. You can acquire holotapes by looting them from containers or buying them at vendors, and they are added to the world via scripted leveled list injection. The script is very robust, checking whether you have the DLCs or Tale of Two Wastelands loaded, and if so, adding holotapes into the leveled lists of those areas as well. Additionally, if you're finding holotapes too common or too rare for your tastes, in the MCM you can adjust the frequency at which they'll spawn. You can also cheat in up to 10 free holotapes if you really need them. There's other ways of acquiring blank holotapes. Sometimes when you use one, you'll recover a used holotape, and at a workbench, if you have a repair skill of 20 and some other materials, you can make a new blank holotape. With Repair 40 and the added Holo Recycler perk, you'll get a better deal when bulk crafting holotapes in a batch of 5. Depending on your settings, you can also extract holotapes from successfully hacked computers or from disabled robots with the Robotics Expert perk. The Computer Whiz perk will give you an extra holotape when hacking a terminal, making it slightly less of a completely worthless perk. Holotapes are considered quest items, so they're weightless, and whenever you lose your inventory, which happens quite often in these games, you'll keep your holotapes. There's a few restrictions on using holotape saves. You cannot save in combat or in midair, which is fair enough. If you enable it in the MCM, there's a third way to save, terminal saving, which allows you to quick save while looking at any terminal as long as it's unlocked and functional. With the default settings, the mod gives you 5 rotating slots for holotape and sleep saves, but you can change the number of slots or even make hard saves that don't get overwritten if you want. Much like Fallout 4, you can make exit saves. By default, pressing the home key will make a one-time save and close the game. If you try to load and exit save twice, the mod won't let you and will give you a save invalid message. The same will happen if you try to save using the console or any other mod, which makes this mod incompatible with autosave managers like Chasm or whatever people are using nowadays, and it won't let you load typewriter saves from save points either. If you aren't a fan of this save invalidation feature, simple Fallout 4 survival saving will be a better choice for you. Second, we have limited game savings, a mod that's a little more hardcore, too much for my taste. It has 2 versions, one that disables the console and another that keeps it enabled. Upon startup with this mod loaded, a pop-up explains all its mechanics. The pop-up was a bit cut off for me, maybe it doesn't work at 1440p, I don't know. No big deal. Unlike saving reworked, this mod allows you to save in any bed, no matter what type it is, as long as it's unowned, of course. You can quickly cancel before time passes to save without sleeping, just like saving reworked, but there's a catch. If you're using Stewie tweaks, which you probably are in 2024, enabling the B faster sleep wait setting will make it harder to quick cancel. It will only work once every 2 or 3 tries. I love this tweak because it makes waiting faster, so I would never disable it, but I have to note, it causes this minor issue. It's not a big deal, but it's something you'll likely run into. Aside from bed saving, you can also quick save, but only once every hour. That's a very long time to wait, and there's no way to configure the time, which is a huge missed opportunity. The mod adds a perk called Rigorous Forethought with 4 ranks, each rank reducing the timer by 4 minutes and letting you bank 1 extra save, but even then, it's a very long time to wait. The wait time can be shortened a bit, however. Based on your luck, whenever you gain XP, there's a chance for the timer to be reduced, and having a higher luck will also increase the amount shaved off the timer. It's a complicated formula, but at the very most, with 10 luck, you can get 10 minutes knocked off your wait time, and once you only have 10 minutes left, you can't get any reductions anymore. The mod also has an exit save feature. Whenever you pause the game, it creates a save, which you can only load once after restarting the game. If you try to load it again, a message tells you it's invalid and you get booted to the credits as if you just beat the game. Weird. This isn't a bad mod, but I would have liked it a lot more if the save timer length and how many saves you get to bank was configurable. Third, we have better saves. This mod is not as difficult as the others. It only disables saving during danger or caution modes, while you're falling, or when you're ragdolled. And that's it. There's no other restrictions on saving, so spam that F5 key as much as you like. In the MCM, you can individually disable these restrictions and set an autosave timer, along with the number of rotating autosaves to keep. It all works very well. Better Saves is a good lightweight save manager, but it isn't exactly the kind of mod I was looking for. Next up, we have save points. This mod was a pain in the rear end to get working. I almost wrote it off as non-functional until I realized it requires the base object swapper mod, which isn't listed anywhere on its Nexus page. The mod is supposed to transform every typewriter in the game into an activator that lets you save your progress, but without base object swapper, they'll simply be normal typewriters. Once you've realized that, you can pick between 2 versions of this mod, one that requires you to find ink ribbons to save, and a version that lets you save without ribbons. I like the typing sound that plays after you save, it's a nice touch. Unfortunately, the ink ribbon you need to save doesn't have a Pip-Boy icon because the texture wasn't placed in the correct folder. Regardless, ink ribbons are integrated into clutter-leveled lists via scripted injection, and just like saving reworked, if you have Tale of Two Wastelands installed, they'll be added to the Capital Wastelands containers as well. Ink ribbons have weight, and they are not quest items, so they'll be removed along with the rest of your inventory in situations where that happens, like Dead Money. Save Points doesn't add its own hardcore save system, so it's best used in combination with simple Fallout 4 survival saving. Like I said before, it's not compatible with Saving Reworked due to Saving Reworked's save invalidation feature, unfortunately. In the optional files, you can find an improved typewriter model, which can be used independently of save points, so if you're looking to replace the ugly old typewriter, give it a download. The model and texture are greatly improved. Fifth, we have save restrictions. This mod has 4 simple features, all of which can be disabled in its ini file. By default, it disallows saving in combat, so you have to either be in the hidden or caution state to save. There's an option to only allow saving while sitting down, which is perhaps a more merciful alternative to sleep saving since chairs are more common than beds. There's additionally an option to only allow saving in interiors, which I don't really see a use for. It definitely adds a lot of difficulty though. You can also disable the quick load hotkey, which again, I don't see any use for. You can still load saves from the pause menu, so there's not much point to disabling quick loading. And that's all the features this mod has. There's not really much to talk about. If I only wanted to disable saving in combat and nothing else, I would still prefer better saves, because that mod has its own autosave feature, and it doesn't let you save in caution mode, which this mod does for some reason. Sixth, we have simple Fallout 4 survival saving, a good alternative to saving Reworked. With this mod, there's 2 ways to save: at beds, which works exactly like limited game savings, with the same little annoyance when using Stewie Tweak's faster sleeping and waiting, and with holotapes. The holotapes have to be enabled in the ini first, and when they are, they're injected into the leveled lists of containers. Unlike saving Reworked or save points, there's no Tale of Two Wastelands integration. You have pretty much 0 chance of finding these holotapes in the Capital Wasteland, and finding them in the Mojave Wasteland is a real crapshoot too. I ran around for half an hour looking through vendors and containers and didn't find any. Holotapes weigh 1 pound each and are not quest items, so you'll lose them along with your inventory in Dead Money, for example. Interestingly, these holotapes let you save in combat, unlike saving Reworked's holotapes. There's exit saves, but this time there's no save invalidation feature. You can load your exit saves as many times as you want. You could cheese the system by closing and reopening the game to save, but if you're going to cheat like that, why even bother using the mod at all? It would be easier to just save using the console, since those saves load just fine too. Simple Fallout 4 survival saving isn't bad, I just wish it had a configuration file to make holotapes less rare. I suppose if you're capable, you can add them to more leveled lists yourself in FNV Edit. Seventh and finally is simple hardcore saving. This mod is built off of the previous mod, but with the holotapes removed and the script being altered to only disable saving and loading. Now you can only quick save, there's no more quick loading, you can only load when you die. Even on the main menu, you can't load a specific save file, you can only hit continue. I guess if you want to switch characters, you're shit out of luck with this mod. You only have 1 save slot now. If it gets corrupted, you're done. The console is disabled too. Truly hardcore indeed. Beyond that, however, there's no restrictions on saving, so I guess it's not too hardcore. As a strange extra feature, the maximum winnings at the 4 big New Vegas strip casinos have been increased. I suppose because now you can't manipulate the games by loading your saves. And that's about all this mod does. I certainly would not recommend it. I hope you found my examination of these mods useful for your own playthroughs, unless you want to keep save scumming forever. That's entirely valid too. Wow, I can't believe I hit 10,000 subscribers. I sure as hell don't deserve it. My testicular torsion video wasn't that funny. The algorithm made a mistake. Anyways, more content coming next week. Until then, toodles!